You are looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which had another follow-through day. Today we had a follow-through day on Tuesday, where the Nasdaq was up 407 points or 2.43%. Took a little rest on Wednesday, and today had another follow-through day. And if you look right here, it's just bumping its head up against that 50 SMA. So when it was down here on the Monday, August 5th, it was like 8% below its 50. Yeah, 7.8%. It closed, and then today it's right at it. So it's made up a lot of ground in a short period of time. But even though we had, this 401 point day today and 2.34% gain and closed at 17,594, it still needs to drive through this 50 simple moving average. So it still has work to do. Hopefully we can get into something like we had here, where it went from 15,222 to 18,671. Got a little frothy at this point, had a nice shakeout, shook out all the weak hands, if you will, or just a shakeout, a correction of 16% peak to trough. And now buyers come back in and drive it higher. You can see the blue volume bars here. Summer trading, volume's a little lighter, but the Nasdaq looking much better than it did a week ago. On the follow-through day, the rule is to buy something. If you didn't buy any, stocks, you weren't comfortable buying stocks, you can always buy the QQQs or, the TQQQs, and that would have worked out well for you if you bought that on Tuesday, because on that day it closed at 63.56, and now it's at 68, so it's a $5 move. So that's what I do when I don't find any stocks. I mentioned yesterday there's very little leadership showing, and I'm going to show you some in a minute here, and that's going to be my thesis for today. I'm just looking for leadership, and leadership's going to change in a new rally. This is the IWM, the Russell. It was up 2.5%, a little better than the Nasdaq. Why? Well, it's 1.8% above its 50. So this one has already traded down to its 200 and rallied back through the 50. So the Russell is looking stronger than the Nasdaq, and so is the SPY. You can see this didn't even trade down to the 200, now is rallied and is 1.6% above the 50. So those indexes look stronger than the Nasdaq, but don't give up on the Nasdaq. And like I said, when we have a new rally, we just had earnings season, we had all these new data points, and so institutions are going to try to figure out which stocks are growing, which stocks are taking market share, which ones they want to establish positions in. And that's what we're seeing now, is some stocks are selling off and not participating, and others are leading. And that's what I'm looking for as leaders. First, I'm just going to go through the Mag 7, just the perfunctory purview of these Mag 7s, which, if you're looking to hit 10 baggers, this is not your area to play. But if you're looking for safe stocks that, if the index goes up, they're going to go up, then Apple is one that you want to buy. Same with Microsoft. This one's below its 50. You saw Apple was well above it. So Apple's one of the stronger ones. Meta too, above the 50. This thing actually looks pretty good here with this base from July 5th. So you're looking at, look about a 6-week base here. That looks pretty good for a Meta. I wonder what this looks like on a, okay, we got a cup with handle, then a pullback to the 200 or the 40-week line, excuse me. And now making, to me, that looks actionable there around the 540 area. Tesla looking a little better, looking a lot better. Actually, it got above its 50 today. So it just ticked above it, 0.6% above it. And NVDA, now NVIDIA was a leader in the last rally. It barely got above its 50 today, but to me, it's a buy at 120 there. Above the 50, I'm more comfortable owning it. It didn't get rejected. I mean, it certainly could tomorrow, but yeah, I bought this one today, when it peaked above the 50. Some of the other ones I mentioned that, are doing a little better than NVIDIA and could be leaders in this new rally is Broadcom. With the 43% sales growth, it powered through its 50 and is now 4.9% above the 50. So looking much stronger than NVIDIA. And then MPWR, I used to call it manpower. It's a monolithic power, made a new high today. And yeah, this thing is powering higher, nearly a 7% move. So maybe you might want to look at some of this instead of, the old, those leaders of the old rally, this might be something to look at. I'm just saying, keep an open mind, be flexible. If you like NVIDIA and are fine trading it, that's fine too. But I'm always looking for the strength, the leaders of this next rally, which I believe we're going to have. So I'm not getting overly excited or overly, my positions, I'm about 50, maybe up to 60% today invested. So I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm going to look around. I'm going to find the leaders, and they're going to emerge. And this one looks like it's emerging. So this one has piqued my interest. Same with Cirrus Logic. Yeah, 10% above its 50. So this one is much stronger than NVIDIA. That 142.83, takes out that old high. It's blue skies for Cirrus. So that's another one that has piqued my interest. 7.5 billion market cap, which fits, those small and mid cap names. All right. Anyway, first I'm going to get to some of the earnings reports, and I'm going to get to some of the leaders that I think I've identified here in this new rally. This is ASTS, Telecom Service Cable. They reported earnings last night, but that's not the story. The story is a short squeeze. It was up 50%, and anytime, I have a rule, anytime my stock's at 50%, I have to take some off the table because hogs get slaughtered. But this is your classic short squeeze. This is, well, the deal is that there are, cell towers that don't have dead periods, dead spots, which, yeah, I believe that. Can you hear me now? The old advertisement, can you hear me now? Yeah, that would be great if they could have cell towers without dead spots, and it would certainly be, catapult the stock. But you cannot ignore a move like this, 50% move with that kind of volume. I'm not too sure about their towers or anything like that, but I'm just looking at the move here, and I love seeing stuff like this. This is power with volume, and so when we're in a rally in a bull market and see stuff like this is encouraging to me. It wasn't the earnings report; it was the response to the earnings report. NICE, this one had a decent report, and it was responded well, up nearly 5%. It got through its 50 and still below its 200, but all they can do is report decent earnings and let the market figure out, what the value is. John Deere reported this morning and responded well. Again, up 6%. We'll take that every time, a 6% move. CLBT, this is one that was on our radar and on our ready list a couple weeks ago, but it kind of didn't do anything, so I took it off. But it definitely, broke out of the base, pulled back to its 50, and now made a new high today after its earnings report, up 7%. This is provides digital intelligence by delivering software and services, links, legally sanctioned investigations, something about cell phones, privacy and cell phone privacy. But anyway, it's definitely, strong stock making new highs. Anyway, that's it for the earnings. Now Walmart reported this morning. We had retail sales and Walmart just blowing it out and just being very ebullient about their forward guidance. And the U.S. consumer, and Warren Buffett always says that, do not count America out, and never bet against America. And the U.S. consumer is strong. This economy keeps chugging along. Walmart proved it this morning. Retail sale numbers were much higher than expected, and that boosted the retail group. And you kind of knew, after listening to Walmart and after getting those retail sale numbers, that the retail was going to be strong today. So I'm going to go through a couple of these names. This is obviously a leader here. A big company like this making new highs, 588 billion market cap. That's what you want to see, a big, powerful move with volume from big, large liquid companies. So this looks fantastic. Boot, I'm just going through some stocks making highs, possible leaders here. This one, 134.61 buy point, just trading a tick above it, still actionable in my opinion. Making new highs. So if you are looking for strength, you want to go to the new high list or stocks near new highs. They don't have to be at new highs, but this is Shark Ninja, broke out of its base last week. When the index pulled back, yeah, it came back 80 to 70, but man, this thing really showing strength after that earnings report, now just forming a shelf type pattern. That one looks good as well. There's just so many of them. I can't get to all of them. I'm not even going to try. BURL, Burlington Stores, BURL, making a new high today. New highs are, that's what we want, right? You want your stock making new highs. So I'm not saying buy this here. You might want to, on some of these, wait for pullbacks or initiate when they pull back. You know, if you bought a quarter position, then add another quarter or whatever. I wouldn't just plunge all the way in. SE, I'm trying to keep an open mind and be flexible here. This is definitely a buy point here at 76.60. They reported earnings and blasted higher. That's a, you know, powered, you know, straight up from the bottom. Usually those handle out right around the pivot area. So I'm looking for this around $77 maybe. This is one of those 2020, you know, go-go stocks and ran into some, you know, the bear market. Now it's starting to emerge out of this stage one base here. So SE, could it be a leader of a, you know, this new rally? It certainly could. So I'm definitely watching that one. Race, I'm going to put this one in the retail because, you know, it's an auto, but it's also, you know, it's a high-end retail name. Broke out yesterday and you know, added a buck today, but definitely breaking out of a base. I'm looking to see if stocks can break out of bases now and trade higher, tack on gains, because a lot of them recently have been breaking out and then pulling back to their pivot points. So that makes a big difference in the rally for me. I need to see them break out and move higher, much like MELI here. I had this on our ready list last week. I don't think I had it this week. I might have, but anyway, made a new high today, and you can see this one, you know, stage one base busting higher, earnings line moving higher. This one is definitely a leader, you know, retail internet in Brazil. If you want some exposure to emerging markets, this one gives that to you. Nothing wrong with the stock making new highs. Closed with the hammer candle, 97% of its daily range. MELI looks fantastic. Gildan, like I said, I can't get to all of them, and I'm not going to. I'm just going to stop here with Gildan, but you can see it broke out of the base, and now it's pulling the Kelly Slater, just trending with the moving averages. So just acknowledging strength, acknowledging possible leadership in retail. This is apparel, clothing, and like I said, I'm not going to even try to get to all of them. I'm just going to get to some of the names that I have on my leading stock list. I'm gonna have to change it this week for sure, because with this new data points, these new earnings seasons, things are going to change. You know, some companies are taking market share and they're going to be rewarded. Earnings matter. You know, where I come from, earnings matter. It's not all technical trading. Earnings do matter. This is Transmedics Group. You can see their earnings line had a little hiccup here and now just pointing straight north. The stock straight north. Wow, it's near, that's an all-time high there after hours. But just, you know, pull back to the 50. It broke out with the earnings, last earnings, and now this earnings, it broke out, but then pulled back. You know, there was market weakness. The Nasdaq corrected 16%, and all it did was it kept coming back to its 50 SMA and finding support. That's what you want to see. Where is my stock finding support? I always tell my clients, you know, on weekdays, you know, when the NASDAQ or the indexes are correcting, look to see where your stocks are finding support. If they find support, a lot of them just drove right through support and trading below their, you know, their 200, like ELF. You know, this thing just fell apart. And so there's no support there. So it's pretty hard to buy something like that. Anyway, I digress. Intuitive Surgical, another one of these medical names that I like. It's just a Kelly Slater stock, you know, support at the 50, support at the 50, continued support at the 50. So this is one that I really like. Yeah, those are two. If I'm going to buy something in the medical systems equipment, it's TMDX. Intuitive Surgical, you say, oh, Intuitive Surgical is a little stretched now. It is. You know, if I wanted to initiate a position, you know, I'd want to get it closer to the 10, but you know, that, you know, 468 area, you know, is an area of interest if it can pull back to that area. And sometimes you just got to hold your nose and when they're running like this, you know, if you want to own a stock in that group. I like to own a couple different sectors. I don't want to plow into one sector, because then you get something like we had today with Eli Lilly, which is showing definite leadership straight up from the bottom. Pull back a little bit today. Oh my gosh, it was up today, huh? Thought it was down. I thought it was down. Anyway, this shows it was down. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Eli Lilly is a leader in the drug stocks. Um, I think it's clearly going to be a $1 trillion market cap. It's at 885 right now. Straight up from the bottom, though, when they do that, you should see a little bit of sideways action at some point, maybe up at the 966 area. It'll get up there and go sideways, or maybe now it'll just pull back a little bit. But you can see the 10 driving through the 21, driving through the 50, and now the 21 is likely to drive through the 50, and we're going to get those stacked moving averages, which you like in a trend for Eli Lilly. So that to me is the leader in the drug stocks, but there's other ones. AstraZeneca, this is I had on my ready list, and it's just blasting. I'm really surprised, pleasantly surprised at how this one has moved. Did I buy it? No, I didn't, because I bought Lilly. I like Lilly above 900, but this one's doing better than Lilly, I believe, this week. Up 4.5%, and Lilly's up okay, 6 in one, half a dozen in another, but AstraZeneca looking fantastic, strong stock. If you picked either one, you're doing fine. Another of the drug stocks that I like, ADMA. This one really super strong stock. Didn't really participate today, but it's up so much. It might just go sideways and allow this moving average to catch up. But with those earnings numbers, triple digit earnings growth, 78%, and accelerating sales growth, investors want this one. Institutions are after ADMA. Fantastic earnings called the last two. You got to listen to those. DYN, I think they got approval. I can't keep track of all the drug stocks. I think they got approval, but this one, 45.45, definitely an area of interest here. It hit that on July 25th. Pulled back to the 50 during the correction, and now right back to the old high. So that one looks fantastic as well. CNTA. I'm just pointing out, stocks making new highs, showing leadership. I'm not saying go out and buy these. I'm not saying they're going to be all world stocks, but stocks that show leadership making new highs might be the ones you want to own in this new rally. So you got to have you got to cast a broad net, and you got to look at a lot of stocks, and then you have to be very selective in selecting your stocks to own. Don't just go out and buy anything. SPRY, this one is got the spray for allergic reactions. Broke out definitely from the base, power from that 50, making new highs. I'm just making an observation, folks. I'm not saying go out and buy this, but you can see the earnings line heading due north. Yeah, 25% this week. We'll take that every week. Thank you very much. Nice breakout for SPRY. Okay, I got to get to one that I mentioned I bought yesterday. My friend, he was talking about SIGA, the monkeypox, and says we got to buy SIGA. It's got the monkeypox thing. And today it had a failed trial, phase 3 trial. So it got taken to the woodshed, 20%. I sold it immediately, and I bought some calls in Moderna because one of these. First of all, the monkeypox is nothing to monkey around about. I'm not joking. It's serious disease. It hasn't been eradicated. So maybe Moderna, they came up with a vaccine very quickly, and so maybe they'll have something for this. So anyway, yeah, this is definitely in a downtrend, not something I would normally buy. Definitely got rejected at the 10 EMA, but just, one of these things that's going to move on news, and just taking a small shot with some calls on Moderna. But just wanted to point that out. These are news driven, and SIGA had a failed trial. It was up 1283 yesterday, and down to what today? 680. Closed at 962. What is that? 97% of its daily range. So not a bad close. Probably some shorts covering or something. All right. I've got to get to some of the software names. ZETA Global is one that I really like. Why? Well, because they're delivering sales and earnings growth. I'm a sucker for sales and earnings for some reason. What a dork. ZETA, though, is, look at their earnings line. This thing's headed straight north. You can see the consolidation there, the breakout from that 1858. And a 33% gain from there. Yeah, it's up 3% this week. Not bad. But definitely showing signs of leadership. So is Palantir. Made a new 52-week high today. Above 30, I liked it. Above 31, I like it. Big stock, big supply, big, market cap. Lots of shares in the float here. Yeah, just a ton of shares in the float, but Palantir is definitely showing leadership, breaking out of that base. I've just got a ton of them that I can't get to everything today. I'm not even gonna try. I'm gonna try my best, but I can't get to everything. There's no way. This is Clearwater Analytics, financial services software. If I go to the weekly, you can see that clean breakout from this consolidation, pulled back last week, nearly 6%. Now it's nearing a new high. There's that earnings line heading due north. Could this be a leader in this space? Sure, it could. Why not? I like the breakouts like that. And like I said, they haven't been working that great recently, and that's why I'm kind of watching these. FOUR is another one of these finance credit card payment stocks. The group is not that strong, but this one is forming a base here, and I kind of like this stock. I liked it below 80, now it's above 80, and so what? I still think it's actionable. There's really time to buy right here around that 75 area, but that's okay. I got to be a little quicker. There's the quick and the dead. GoDaddy, once again, if you didn't get this one, definitely showing signs of leadership. Now, if you want to buy this one, what do? You know, buy a quarter position, wait for a pullback to the 10, buy another quarter. I don't know. If you want to own it though, I mean, this thing could go to 200 the way this thing's running. Definitely showing signs of leadership. You can see how long this thing has been running. So I'd be careful with GoDaddy, even though it's, you know, showing strength and definitely a leader in the software space. What are Monday, they reported Monday, and a very strong quarter, triple digit earnings growth, 34% sales growth, blasted higher, now just forming this little shelf pattern. Nothing wrong with that, but you can see the earnings line heading north. You can see the breakout from the base, up 15.5% this week. Thank you very much. We'll take that every time. So Monday could definitely be a leader in the software space in this new rally. And that's the purpose of today's video. Just trying to keep an open mind, just looking at some stocks, casting a wide net. This is Parsons. Another software name broke out. Now it's trending higher with its 10 EMA. So yeah, it didn't participate today, but you know, it's up big. 2 weeks ago, it was up a lot on the breaking out of this base. Yeah, 16%, tacked on another 4.5%, just, you know, flat this week, and that's okay. When a stock moves like that, flat is good. It just allows the moving averages to catch up. All right, that's enough for software. I got to go to some of these security, kind of like this is Axon. They make the cameras for the police, and they have, you know, tasers, and you know, they have a lot of different products. And they always come up with new products, broke out of the base, and now just forming the shelf, allowing the moving averages to catch up. Axon looks fantastic to me. Could it be a leader? Well, yeah, look at the way this thing moves. I mean, it makes big moves, consolidates, make big moves, consolidate. And now it just broke out of another base. So could it run to 400, 500? Sure, it could. You know, I fully expect it to, provided that we have a, you know, rally coming up in the fall, you know, from here on out, hopefully. We'll see. YOU broke out last week, just tacking on gains, making new highs. Securities, safety stock. Could this one be a new leader? Sure. It broke out of a stage 1 base, and last week, 33%. Now it's up 10% this week. Earnings line going straight due north. So you say, Marty, how do I buy this? Well, you take your mouse and you click the buy button and hope it doesn't fall too far. But when it comes back to its 10, then you click it again and buy a little, you scaffold, you scale in, you know, you can't just buy, you know, 10% position, full position right now. That would be a little, that would be a little bit, taking a little bit too much risk, being a little too careless. So you got to, your money's valuable to you, and you got to be selective and buy properly. But this is definitely one showing leadership qualities, and one to watch out for, put on your watch list. NAPCO Security, you know, broke out, pulled back, you know, with the market. Now it's back near new highs. So, you know, kind of a thinly traded stock, only a 2 billion market cap, but you got to recognize the strength here. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, the cyber security stocks, they have been changing leadership for years and years. And Fortinet was a leader back in the day, and then it, you know, back here, look at this move, and then it just kind of went sideways. It had a couple of bad quarters, consolidated in the space, and you could see this big cup with handle pattern, 56 weeks. And you know, studies have been done that the bigger the base, the higher in space. That's not really true. You just need a base. You don't need a big base. And this one has a base, and it's right here near this buy point. I'm a little hesitant to put it on my ready list though, because it's 8% above its 10, but man, it's right near that buy point. It's showing strength. Definitely looks like a leader in this group. It's yeah, 21% above the 50, which is doing much better than some of its peers. Here's Palo Alto, it's just traded below its 200 now, blasted through its 50. You know, this one's 5.8% above the 50, but I like it right there at 345. The problem with this one is they report earnings on Monday. So don't plow into this one ahead of earnings. I mean, maybe I don't like holding through earnings, but sometimes you have to. Maybe a small position, 1 or 2%. If they blow it out and the thing pops, and maybe you could add more to it. But yeah, that would be my philosophy. But I if I'm going to buy these, I'm going to buy the leader. I think Fortinet's doing the best right now. Zscaler, you know, below the 200, it did, you know, bounce, but you know, this thing you can see this is fledgling because it's trading kind of with CrowdStrike, which had, you know, real bad PR. And so CrowdStrike's kind of in timeout for a bit. It did make that move though from, you know, 200 to 260. So you got to give it credit for that. Anyway, I'm going to move on from this group because I got other stuff to show you. I want to get into the retail restaurant group because I told you that the retail sales numbers came out today and they're just super strong. The economy's chugging along. There's not, you know, there's a lot of consternation about rate cuts and all that. If the economy is growing the way it is, we don't need rate cuts. I mean, it would be nice if it, you know, they came down a little bit, especially for those you know, people want to borrow cheaper rates. You know, I get it, maybe a quarter point or something, but with inflation coming in, inflation's down 18 months in a row. It, you know, below 3%, and the Fed funds rate's at 5.25. It's a little restrictive. They can afford to bring it down a little bit, but these retail groups, man, I'm digressing, are looking strong. I'm just going to show you a few of them because some of them, this is taking market share. How do I know? Well, look at their earnings report, right? 46% earnings growth. The group is not that strong, 91. And some of them taking real big hits, but you could see the stage one base, you know, moved higher. This shown the ability to move. Now it's forming another base, and it broke out with earnings. You see that blue dot, which is indicating, you know, a relative strength. It traded, the relative strength line traded through the moving averages, which is a buy sign. But now it's near its old buy point, its old high there, 36.72. Looks like it closed a tick above it today. You know, tomorrow's Friday, so I probably won't put this on, but next week, you know, if it could pull back just a little bit. Definitely, I like Sweet Greens. I like CAVA as well. They're reporting the 22nd, which is next Thursday. Yeah, a week from today. You know, man, this thing looks good to me. CMG, Chipotle Mexican Grill, lost their CEO. Brian Nickel went to Starbucks, so Kava got a little bit of a boost from that. I'm not sure if that's going to make a big difference or not, but it's up 7.5% this week. So Kava is showing strength. And another one is the SHAK. Sold off, you know, corrected, the Nasdaq corrected to straight up from the bottom, pulled back to a moving average. How many times have we talked about that? You know, the straight up from the bottom, pull back to the moving average, then the move higher. And now it looks like it's near an all-time high, near its buy point there of 105.68. So this SHAK looks good. A couple of them that I haven't looked at recently. Wingstop, okay, forming a base, not too bad. That looks pretty good. And then Dutch Bros, he got hammered with earnings and now trying to claw its way back, you know, but 30% sales growth, 46% earnings growth is not too bad. All right. More stuff in the news. ULTA, you know, bought by Warren Buffett, just because Warren Buffett, you know, and disclosed in a 13F filing that he bought it. He probably bought this stock 2 months ago. And wouldn't it be nice if you bought a stock and then 6 weeks later it goes up, you know, 11% because you bought it? Talk about self-fulfilling prophecy. It'd be nice to be in that position, but he's certainly earned it. And yeah, he bought a stake in this one. It was up 11% today, but it's still below its 50. And then I mentioned Alpha earlier, tagging along with ULTA, but it's just so far below its 200. This just looks like short covering to me in Elf Beauty. All right, the last group I'm going to get to, promise. I know it's a long video, but I'm just trying to show strength. The defense space definitely showing strength here. This is Howmet. I'm just going to go through these quickly. Lockheed Martin. You can just look at the chart and see it's showing strength, making new highs, trading with its moving averages. Northrop Grumman. Yeah, it looks strong. Curtiss-Wright. I had this on our ready list last week. I think I took it off this week, but definitely showing strength, making new highs. Yeah, up nearly 4% this week. That's a good week. 4% is a good week by any measure. ERJ, another one that I had on my ready list recently, took it off. It's getting a little extended, up 4.5% this week. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll continue to look for leadership, continue to put stocks on the ready list near their buy points. I do not like chasing stocks, and I do not like catching falling knives. I've shown a ton of stocks that are showing strength, but there are more, and I'll get to those in other videos. But that's it for me. Thank you for watching. In honor of the great Steve Jobs, I do have one more thing, and that is earnings tonight. Applied Materials reported. I don't know what a company has to do. They beat earnings pretty significantly. They beat revenues pretty significantly. They raised guidance, and it's down 2% after hours. I'm not a real fan of after hours. It could reverse tomorrow. This thing's way off its high. I'm not really sure what a company is supposed to do. It's 17% off its high. I understand the AI trade, the semiconductors got a little frothy there and needed to pull back, and they did. But man, when you report a quarter like that, it shouldn't get a haircut. That's disappointing. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks here with Applied Materials. All they can do is report good numbers, and they certainly did that today. COHR, I did not hear the report, down 1.5%. Oh well. AMCR, this is another container packaging company, down 1.5% after hours. It's been up a lot though, so maybe a little just profit taking there. And then H&R Block, HRB, I would imagine these guys would be good. Yes, up 8%, making new highs above that old 58.63. So don't go chasing that. I'll have more information in the morning on these earnings calls, and you could see, how these earnings are affecting the stock prices here. And stocks are being rewarded with, powerful earnings reports, and that's what you want to see. That's a healthy market when a big company like Walmart reports a good quarter and gets rewarded like that. So I love to see it. Anyway, thank you for watching. We're in a bull market. We suffered the correction, and now we're going to reap some rewards here. If you're not in the stocks that you want to be in, just make the adjustment. Don't panic. There's going to be time. There's going to be stocks setting up. And at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up, ever. Thank you for watching.